What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Fantasy Daily, the first ever episode, the first installment, the first podcast, the first of many. Good and plenty, my friends. Welcome into Fantasy Daily. I am Nathan, and I am here to take you through the news that is going on about fantasy football, all the implications coming through with free agency. We are not far off from free agency. 9 days left until free agency begins. So things are happening, trades are happening, moves are happening. People are committing to teams. They're not committing to teams. Teams are giving out information about players that we need to believe or not believe, and there's a lot to comb through. So welcome to Fantasy Daily. We got a lot to go through. I'm very excited, and I'm ready to get into this, guys. So first and foremost, let's kick off free agency and what I call free agent bingo. So for you guys out there who are in Dynasty leagues, or if you're in perpetual leagues with your friends that you do with the same people every single year, this is a good time to decide your draft order. And I'm going to give you one of my favorite ideas for deciding draft orders, and that is free agency bingo. So what's going to happen is I've made a bingo card for you guys. I'm going to leave it down in the description. On your way to the description, remember this is YouTube, so like and subscribe for me. But on your way down to the description, you're going to notice that in there's something that says free agency bingo and the link to it. Click on that link and it's going to bring you right to a spreadsheet that you guys can print out. You can take the names off and change some names around, find some people in free agency who you like, and predict 3 teams that you think this player is going to go to. So if I go over to my free agency bingo, I noticed that I have Ryan Fitzpatrick on there on one of the squares, okay? So what you do is you pick 3 teams that you think Ryan Fitzpatrick will go to, or you could even put retirement as one of them. If you get the team right, or if you get retirement right, you get that square. You get 4 squares in a row, you call bingo. You get to decide where you draft from. So first person to get bingo decides where they draft from, so on and so forth. When the next person hits bingo, on and on and on. So I just want to keep reminding you guys of that. I'm going to keep every episode that I do, I'm going to keep dropping the free agency bingo in there up until the day when stuff starts happening, because I think it's a really fun way to keep everybody involved in the league. It gives you something fun to do in the offseason, something to look at. And if you're a crazy nut like me with fantasy football, it's a really good way to keep everybody involved. So with that, let's talk exactly what is going on in the news, and the news just broke right before I got online. I set up my show doc and everything, and I'm sitting here, I'm trying to put all my information in, and then boom, Dak Prescott gets signed. So Dak Prescott is now officially a Cowboy for the next 4 years, $160 million deal, up to $164 million with incentives. I didn't get the guaranteed money. I can look it up in a little bit, but I just want to say now that Dak's absolutely there, I can move him in my rankings. So also, if you guys want to see the Dynasty rankings that are under construction, it's going to take me a little while. That is also in the description below if you want to check out the Dynasty rankings. I have quarterbacks done, running backs done, wide receivers I'm still working on, tight ends I have stuff put in there, not the ages, so a lot of that stuff is still under construction, but quarterbacks and running backs are done. So now I can officially take Dak Prescott off of the free agency market, or the free agency color that I have on there. Free agents are colored in white in my rankings, and now I can officially move Dak Prescott to where I think he belongs, and he is at 12, and I'm going to move him above Matthew Stafford, above Jalen Hurts, above Aaron Rodgers, and above Joe Burrow. He's right under Justin Herbert for me at quarterback 8, right in the QB1 tier. You got to keep Dak Prescott there. It's Dak Prescott. When he gets the job, when he's in there, he's balling. And if you don't look at his stats, you're obviously going to think that maybe Dak Prescott's not that guy because he has that stigma with him about Dak Prescott not being enough, this and that. But Dak Prescott is an amazing fantasy quarterback. He's a great fantasy quarterback. So even though he might not be the best out in the game, winning games, he's great for fantasy, and he's been great for fantasy, and I expect him to be that guy. Also, with Dak Prescott returning, now I can move over to my running backs, and I can take Zeke again from 11. Now I had him at 11. That's far down for Zeke to be. But with Zeke and all the implications from last year, we don't know what's going on with Dak. A lot moved from that. So I can move Zeke above Antonio Gibson, above James Robinson, above Jonathan Taylor, above Nick Chubb, but not above Josh Jacobs, because I am bullish on Josh Jacobs going into next season. We will get into that later on in the year. But I have moved Ezekiel Elliott back into the 7th position, and I just messed up all my numbers here. Boom, and I did it again. That's okay. So running backs I'll fix later. Anyway, so Dak Prescott is officially signed. That's good news for all the wide receivers there. That's good news for Ezekiel Elliott. That's good news for Dak Prescott. That's good news for fantasy. So even if you're not a big fan of Dak Prescott, that's good news for fantasy. I like that Dak's back. I like that Dallas did good by him. I'm not sure. I was trying to find the number that Dak was looking for last year in his deal, and I don't think it's this. I think he was looking for much more, but kind of had no choice but to sign this time. So that's not great, but he got the deal done. He's there for the next 4 years. I think it's good for everybody involved. So, Dak Prescott officially back. I like it. I didn't get a chance to cover some stuff that happened before, obviously, episode 1. And there's a lot of stuff that's happened since the Super Bowl that I want to cover. Biggest thing being the Goff-Stafford trade. Now, let me start off with the bleak. Now, the bleak is Goff moving to Detroit, to me, is the absolute worst for Goff. It's okay for Detroit, but as far as everything's going on in Detroit, this is just chaos to me. Detroit doesn't know. Marvin Jones isn't coming back. Kenny Galladay's probably not coming back. So you got DeAndre Swift over there. You got Kerryon Johnson, and it just seems like a wasteland now. It just seems like Detroit is done for a while. I don't want any part of Goff. And maybe as the season off-season progresses, I see more from him that I want to get into, but right now I don't want any part of Detroit, and I think it's a bad thing to happen for them to move Goff over there, man. I know that they traded a Stafford away, and he was moving regardless, but to go and get Goff, it's okay, but you have so many pieces on your team that are missing. I feel like they could have done a lot more with Stafford than just go get Goff, so is what it is, and that's, to me, the beginning of the end for Detroit, and Detroit's going to be bad for a long time, like Houston. Oh, no. Down we go. And that's going to be put in the video because I'm not editing this tonight. So after that, we can go into the Carson Wentz deals. Now, Carson Wentz, this is a big one for me, especially seeing as Jeff Lurie, let me just kind of slip this into here. Jeff Lurie said he wants Jalen Hurts to be the guy. So with them saying they want Jalen Hurts to be the guy, it's really hard for me not to think that this was the plan all along, and this is why Carson Wentz was the way he was last year, the way he felt, the way that him and the head coach, I'm drawing a blank right now on his name. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank right now on his name. But it's Doug Peterson. So it's really, it's kind of the writing on the wall of what happened where Carson Wentz goes to the Colts. Now they're talking about Jalen Hurts. They want Jalen Hurts to be the guy out there. And it seems like that was kind of the disgruntled Carson Wentz angle all last year. He knew this was going to happen, and you kind of played him along. You put Hurts in out of nowhere. You upset the whole team, but they're going to do trial by fire. And it seems like the Eagles are hard-pressed on saying Doug Peterson wasn't the guy. He's gone. Hurts is going to be the guy, and we're going to make our bed and lie in it either way. So it's a bullish angle for the Eagles to take. I like Jalen Hurts. I don't like the pressure that they're going to put on this kid going into the year, especially since they're not the best wide receiver core. They're not the best offense. Jalen Hurts can move the ball. I think this is huge for Miles Sanders, Carson Wentz going to the Colts. But it's tough for me to put that much on Jalen Hurts and then want him long-term in like a dynasty league. Now, I know I have him still at 11 in my quarterback rankings for dynasty. I have to keep him there because of how bullish they are on him. I do like him, and I think he has the potential to be an all-star fantasy quarterback. But he also might be one of those guys that's not huge on the field to the point where he's not out there winning games and getting the praise all the time, but he's getting it done for fantasy because he has the legwork and he's going to get those rushing touchdowns. So if he turns out to be that guy on the field that everybody saw last year, he'll be a great dynasty investment. But with the writing on the wall, everything that they're putting onto him, I feel like that's a big gap that Jalen Hurts needs to fill that I don't know if somebody of his caliber right now in his career will be able to fill. So we'll see. I'm bullish on Jalen Hurts. I have him at 11. I have him above Stafford in between Rodgers, but it's tough. So Carson Wentz going to the Colts, I think that's okay for the Colts. He has a great offensive line, so maybe he won't have to rush around as much. Having Jonathan Taylor, having those people around him who can actually get things done. I think this is great for Michael Pittman. Whatever tight end seems to be the guy over there on the Colts. I hope it's Mo Alley-Cox because the guy is just a massive creature. I don't think he's human. He's just absolutely massive and he's a Marvel character. So I would like to see Marvel characters play football. And if Carson Wentz can utilize that, then we might be able to see Marvel characters playing with Mo Alley-Cox, because he is superhuman and I want to see him play more. So speaking of tight end, moving on from Carson Wentz, Buffalo today said that they're going to be very aggressive in pursuing a tight end in the offseason and free agency, and I think this is huge. Now, last year, I wrote an article about Josh Allen. I said Josh Allen is going to be a top 5 quarterback last year. Josh Allen finished the number 1 quarterback in fantasy, and he did it without a tight end that he could rely on. So I really like that Buffalo is moving to get this tight end. Buffalo was one of my favorite teams last year in the offseason with everything that they did in the draft, going to get Stephon Diggs. The way they built their team up last year, I was over the moon about Buffalo. They were my pick to win the Super Bowl. I really wanted to see them go all the way. They've suffered enough, okay? If you don't know about Buffalo, they've suffered enough. They deserve this. They deserve everything that comes with Josh Allen. I'm a big Josh Allen fan. I'm a Josh Allen stan. I've had him in Dynasty for 2 years. I'm not letting him go. I have him 3rd in my rankings, above Lamar Jackson, above Deshaun Watson. So I'm bullish on Josh Allen. I love that they're going to get this tight end. And I think Buffalo's going to keep doing this, and they're going to be the team that you talk about in the AFC next to Kansas City. Not any of the other ones. Not going to be the Ravens. I think it's going to be Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes as the 2 new guys. And I said this last year. I'm going to keep saying it until I get proved wrong. That's the new rivalry that we want to watch. You had Peyton and Brady. You had Aaron Rodgers and whoever Aaron Rodgers plays ever. But I think Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, those are going to be the 2 guys that you talk about for the next 5-10 years going, these are the guys going to the Super Bowl a lot. I think Josh Allen's got Super Bowls in him, and you're going to see it happen sooner than later. So Buffalo gets that. They're going for the tight end. Patriots said they're going to be very aggressive this offseason in trying to get a quarterback replacement, and that Jimmy Garoppolo is their number 1 choice. So the golden boy, Jimmy Garoppolo, they're trying to get him to come home. Belichick wants him. Kraft obviously wants him to have somebody who knows the system. They're going to be all over that. So they're making a big push to get Jimmy G. As a Patriots fan, I'm okay with it. To be honest, I'm on the ride. I want Ryan Fitzpatrick. I'll take Ryan Fitzpatrick before Jimmy Garoppolo, to tell you the truth. Get a bridge quarterback for something. But at this point, the Patriots are hurting in a lot of ways. So fill one spot with some guy you know. I'm okay with it. I think Jimmy G would be a good move. I don't know what San Francisco is going to move him for. I don't know what the salary implications are for that. But apparently that's the number 1 priority for them, and they're willing to go down with the ship. So we'll see. So moving on to trades, the Russell Wilson trade. Bears, Seattle reporter came out today and said that trading Russell Wilson to the Bears is an absolute pipe dream. But this is team talk. So remember that team talk goes it's very thin, okay? There's not many times that a team will come out and say something and I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Russell Wilson can still definitely get traded. And if Russell Wilson gets traded to one of these teams, obviously not the Cowboys now, that door was slammed in their face because Dak Prescott gets signed. But if he could very well go to the Bears. He could very well go to a couple different teams. So I think that them coming out and saying it is kind of pushing the Russell Wilson's camp a little bit, saying, hey, you're not going. But I think that a Russell Wilson trade is unlikely, but still very much on the table for where Seattle is. So that's the Russell Wilson thing. We'll see what happens with that. I'm not going to make any predictions, but I would not be surprised if that happens. So moving on to another quarterback controversy that is just a wild ride. This is probably the most wild ride since Antonio Brown, which was just an absolute horror show. This one has a horror show feel to it in its own way, but that's Deshaun Watson. And Houston came out on Sunday morning and said that they are willing to let Deshaun Watson sit out this season. And I can't believe how much Houston is just kicking dirt in their fans' face. Just no matter what. Like, if Deshaun Watson's not going to play, you gotta make a move. You gotta make a move for the team. You gotta make a move for the fans. This guy does not want to be here. He is not playing around anymore with you guys. And it's It's a different world now where owners really want to have the full strangle on everything that's inside of their team and organization, and this is not a good look for Houston. I think it's going to be hard for them to want people to come and play for them in the future the way that they're going about this. This, to me, is a horror show in the making for a team. And if I was Houston, if Deshaun Watson comes in and says, I'm all done, then be all done. Let him go. Let him go to a different team. See what you can get for him. He's willing to waive the no-trade clause in his contract if you're willing to deal him. So see what you can get out of it. You're already, over a barrel with everything that Bill O'Brien did anyway. So get something for it. Don't let him sit. Don't make your fans upset. Bad idea. Bad idea. Speaking of Houston, J.J. Watt's gone. He went to Arizona. And now Arizona has an amazing team. So on top of Josh Allen last year, I was high on Arizona. Buffalo and Arizona were my two biggest teams. And if you look at my rankings at quarterback, you'll see I am still in that phase again this year. Kyler Murray is above Josh Allen. Josh Allen's at 3, so Kyler Murray's at 2 for me. And I think Kyler Murray last year just showed you a piece of what's about to happen. I was huge on Kyler Murray last year. I drafted him. He started off hot, and then he dwindled out. He didn't kill you. He won me a fantasy championship, but he dwindled, and he dwindled when you needed him most. I don't think those games come this year. I think Kyler Murray is another Super Saiyan quarterback that isn't going to stop being on this god tier of fantasy production where he just keeps winning you games where sometimes he starts off the first half with 8 points and then explodes in the second half for 25 points. He's a good passer. He's violent on the ground. When I say violent, I mean as a rusher when it comes to scoring, not violent like he'll bully people. But he's great for your fantasy team, and he's going to continue to be great for your fantasy team. And I think Kyler Murray and the Cardinals are a team to watch. Them and Buffalo, they're going to be the sneakier teams that you see come through that just absolutely explode out of the gate, punch through a wall, and make sure that they, have a dominance in the league this year. I think that they're going to start off hot, and they're going to keep it hot, and they're going to be two teams that are underrated up until week 7, and then people really starting to realize that these teams are no joke. So I'm excited for those two teams. Obviously, my rankings reflect that. So let's talk some free agency now that we're here. I need to get some transition music. Free agency. So let us talk now about the free agents that I have in mind for free agent bingo. So if you're just joining us, if you're skipping around in the podcast or on YouTube, free agent bingo is what I made for you guys and what I've made for my league in the past, where you pick a card of free agents, and then you take these free agents, you pick 3 teams for them, and if you get that square right, if you decide where they go, you put a mark it, bang, I got that bingo slot, that square. And then if you get the bingo, you get them all in a row, you call bingo, you get to choose where you draft from. So fun little way to keep you guys, going during the off season. But let us get into free agents. Free agents. So first and foremost, one of my favorite wide receivers, and I'm not going in any particular order, I'm just going off the bingo card. One of my favorite wide receivers in the offseason that I'm very excited about, and if you're a person in a fantasy league or in a dynasty league, and you're not that deep at wide receiver, and you need some receiver help, and maybe, you got some picks that you're not sure of during in the year. You got some picks last year. If you go back into your drafts, you got some 6th, 7th round picks that you made, and they came up total flops, and you don't need them anymore. Those late picks, 5th, 6th round picks in dynasty leagues, rookie draft leagues, I'm always willing to trade those, and even up into if you have a rookie draft league where your dynasty team only drafts rookies, I'm willing to trade a 2nd round pick for some of these players on here to make sure that I have either a lottery ticket of a player that I know is good in comparison to a rookie who might have to work up his ranks. Because remember, we're going for championships now. We want to build for later, but I want a championship now. So will a 2nd round draft pick win me a championship this year? Maybe, but the odds are highly against it. So what I do is I'm going to take something like a 2nd round draft pick in a rookie draft, and I will absolutely go get somebody like Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel is my favorite lottery ticket wide receiver this offseason because he is wildly talented, and I feel he's been underutilized the entire time he's been in Carolina. When you see him on the field, when you see him get the ball, he pops, he flashes, and he's absolutely great. So the fact that he hasn't been featured makes me feel like some team is going to notice that he should be featured. They're going to put him into the lineup. They're going to get him moving. And when they do get him moving, he's going to be a good fantasy producer. So I hope that for his sake, he ends up on a team that, cares to play him. This is, Dynasty that we're talking about still. If you go and get him, he's 24 years old. He'll be 25 at the start of the season. He's got a lot of football left in him, and he's probably not in his prime. I think he's got a lot left in him. My number one choice where I think he's going to land is Detroit. I think Detroit re-signs him, but right now it's not looking... likely. He's going to hit free agency, which to me makes no sense. I feel like Carolina, I said re-sign with Detroit. I got my stuff mixed up. Anyway, I don't think Carolina is going to re-sign him, which is a mistake to me. I think he's going to land in Detroit because he's going to be one of those guys who can come in, play with Matt Stafford, and be basically the entire team. This is my number one favorite pick for Detroit for Curtis Samuel, because I think he will get absolutely peppered with targets from Matt Stafford if he see, I'm all messed up. It's a hard offseason. You don't have it in front of you. Anyway, I think he's going to get peppered with targets from Jared Goff the entire season if he goes there. If Jared Goff doesn't have many, if Marvin Jones leaves, Kenny Golladay leaves, and Curtis Samuel shows up, he's going to get peppered. 10 targets a game, easy, in the slot, outside, in the back, handoffs. He's going to be a whole offense play with Detroit. Now, if he doesn't go to Detroit, I would like to see him to go to New England. That's a biased opinion from a New England fan, so we'll skip that one. But team 3 for me, for Curtis Samuel, is Green Bay. I think Green Bay needs a lot of wide receiver help, and Curtis Samuel fits the bill so perfect for them. He would be the ultimate complement to Davante Adams, to Robert Tonyan, to A.J. Dillon, because Aaron Jones isn't going to stay. We'll talk about that later. But I think Curtis Samuel on Green Bay is amazing. Now, as somebody who has Davante Adams wherever he can get, I've had Davante Adams in my Dynasty League forever, and I will not trade him away. Davante Adams is my number one favorite player. I won't move on him. I've been saying for many years he's the best wide receiver in the league for many years. And so I won't move for him, but I think Curtis Samuel is the ultimate compliment to him, and he's so much of a compliment for Aaron Rodgers that he's going to hurt Davante Adams' value, all right? So that's a sneak peek for something later on in the year that I'm talking about, but I think he's the perfect fit there. So moving on into that, Aaron Jones is a free agent running back for Green Bay, and I think they intend on re-signing him. They think A.J. Dillon's the guy. They can go and draft a backup running back. They can go and get a backup running back in the free agent pool. They want A.J. Dillon to be the guy. If you have Aaron Jones running all over teams the way he did, why not give him a contract extension in the season? Why not sign him later on? Because I think they know what they have in A.J. Dillon, and A.J. Dillon is a monster. I currently have A.J. Dillon in a Dynasty League where the benches drop every year and you only keep it, so it's like a full keeper Dynasty League. Your benches drop. I have A.J. Dillon on the bench, and if Green Bay moves on from Aaron Jones, I have the very hard decision of do I want to keep A.J. Dillon or Antonio Gibson. So I'm going to be tearing my hair out if that happens. Fortunately for me, in that league, benches drop the day before free agency, so I'm hoping that they can make my life easy. Aaron Jones doesn't get signed before then, and then I drop A.J. Dillon, and it is what it is. I pay the price, I keep Antonio Gibson, whatever, but at least I knew I had the starter. So I think Aaron Jones could end up in Atlanta to fill that hole that they're always looking for, even though Atlanta can never seem to get running back right. They just, for forever, they had Todd Gurley, and then that was awful. So, they haven't been able to do anything with running backs since Kyle Shanahan left. So that's tough for me to think that Aaron Jones will be productive there, but I believe that they will make a run at him. I also believe that Pittsburgh and Miami will make a run at them. Pittsburgh, I think, they're definitely going to let James Conner walk this year. I don't think they trust solely in Benny Sell and Anthony McFarland. I think they can be a good complement back, but Pittsburgh is that kind of team, and Mike Tomlin is that kind of coach that wants that number one running back guy. So I think that's why Aaron Jones is a perfect fit there. After that, I think Miami is the place to go. I think Miami's going to want to make a good push for him. They're going to want to fill in that spot. So Couple more people that I want to fill into here. I don't want to steamroll this whole thing. Like I said, free agent bingo is for you guys to go in, poke around and do some stuff, but I just want to kind of talk about the quick free agents. So let me rapid round some people. I don't want to keep you guys too late on this one. So Chris Godwin. I think Chris Godwin is a guy that's going to be floated around everywhere. Kansas City, Chicago, and New England are my places that I really feel like he could end up. Kansas City is going to be the guys who pay up for him, but New England will be one of those people who might break the bank to make sure that they got a number one wide receiver that can do it all. Juju Smith-Schuster. I think Juju Smith is done in Pittsburgh. They did not like him there, but he's going to end up on a team that will put up with some bull crap, and that's going to be Cincinnati, Tennessee. The New York Giants are probably going to be those teams that really, really go after him. Dak Prescott's back in Dallas. I got to take him off of here. Marvin Jones will command a lot of money coming into this offseason, and he's going to be a guy that people really want. I think Jacksonville is a perfect slot for him because if he ends up in Jacksonville, he gets Trevor Lawrence right off the bat. So I think that's a huge spot for him. So that's all the free agents that I really want to get into, guys. There's more to come. There's more that we're going to get into. I got a whole slate of stuff coming to you guys soon. I got my golden team going into the year. That's going to be my team that I think is, I'm going to take like the top 10 rankings out, say we're not picking any of these people, and I'll give you all kinds of people that I think are going to be hot this year that are going to win you fantasy titles. So kind of like sleepers, little sneak peek for staying all the way to the end of the episode. My number one wide receiver going into this year that was going to be, that's, you know, not really talked about as top tier, but he's going to win you fantasy championships. Little prize for staying into the end. Like and subscribe for me. Justin Jefferson is the wide receiver that you're all going to want this year, everybody. Thanks for staying on Fantasy Daily. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.